During Wuthering Waves' 2.0 quest, we got some hands-on time with Roccia. At this point, the community's opinion on her was clear. She was a cute meme that says Mamma Mia when she plunges. Awesome. But a couple weeks later, she has released to lukewarm reception, to say the least. The community has designated her a luxury character that's not worth pulling because of Sanhua's overwhelming strength. Apparently, she only provides vertical investment for Camellia and doesn't do much for the overall strength of your account. Pridewin even said she's the worst 5-star character in the game. And I agree, but only for now. In order to avoid being greedy and stupid as a free-to-play player, it's pretty important to look at a character's current abilities, and also their future potential to determine what a character may mean for your account, and more importantly, what skipping them means for your account. Today, I'm making it my mission to give you an insight into Roccia's pull value that other people will not. Ugh, this isn't what I wanted to make my next video on. Tell me if you've heard this one before. A new character releases in a gacha game and everyone tells you to skip them. They're just a 5-star Sucrose, they say. They're a 5-star Barbara. They're a 5-star Jingcho, everyone cries. The banner disappears, and all of a sudden the community says, they're OP, they're a must pull, they're so good. Thanks guys, you snakes. This information is so useful now that the rerun is half a year away. Asshole. I'm usually the crazy guy screaming, this character is OP to everyone, and getting blasted as a result. I was fighting in Kokomi's corner for months, man, for months. But I guess old habits die hard, because here I am about to defend Roccia. But before that, I have to answer a question. Why do gacha communities constantly do this? Well, to put it simply, it's because people don't usually give honest-to-God pulling advice. Most people would just justify their own decisions. If they don't have enough asterisks for the new character, oh, that means the character wasn't good. They were never good, in fact. Why get the new character? I've already got this old character. And then the banner leaves and everyone loses interest, apart from the few people that pulled the character. Now they get to control the narrative. But imagine how you'd look if you started screaming from the rooftops, this character is OP, you must pull them, oh my god! Oh, really? I didn't know that. Did you pull them? No. Why? I mean, I've got Sanhua, so yeah, that's even crazier. But the point is, you can't just trust anyone's advice. If you're going to take someone's advice, it's got to be from someone who either theory crafts for the love of the game, or someone who is a whale and doesn't care either way. But both of these groups can get things wrong, which is why you come to me for advice. I'm never wrong. Now let's do a deep dive into what Roccia means for your account. First of all, if you don't own Camellia, don't pull Roccia. That should go without saying. If there were more Havoc DPSs out there, then maybe Roccia will have some pull value. Regardless, right now it's Camellia or nothing. There is no alternative. Now that that's out of the way, we can have a look at the situation Camellia released into. Camellia was the last main DPS to release in the version 1 updates, and she put a bow on the meta at the time. With the introduction of new sets, new debuffs, and a renewed focus on specific type supports, I think it's safe to say that the meta is about to change. So let's have a look at the 1.0 meta as a whole. First of all, there are 4 types of damage. Basic damage, heavy damage, resonance skill damage, and resonance liberation damage. And intro and outro skills, but those contribute next to nothing. And in the version 1 updates, we got an aero heavy attacker, a spectro resonance skill DPS, an electro liberation DPS, and Camellia just finished the set by being a Havoc basic attacker. That's all the types covered. So from this point, we're going to have to double dip on damage types. The game's DPSs will start competing for resources, which means the value of supports is going to go up, not down. And arguing that support has no value because another support also exists doesn't really make much sense. Carlotta's banner passed recently, so obviously she's going to be competing with one of the 4 version 1 DPSs. The question is, which one? It's Jinshi. Zhezha got sniped right out of her team, and Carlotta needs Zhezha more than Jinshi does, so Jinshi's simply down a support option if you pulled both. In my last video, I said I was skipping Carlotta, and since I'm a Jinshi main, you now know the reason why. Actually, I pulled for Zhezha and lost the 50-50 to Ling Yang. It was an L, but the main draw to the update to me was Jinshi's weapon, which I got. But why am I saying this? I wanted to give you an insight into the kind of thought process I use when determining a character's pull value. Make no mistake, my account could use a third premium DPS team. It's the last thing I need to start effortlessly rolling the Tower of Adversity. I'm not one of those 30 out of 30 clearers. I go in, use my teams, and get out with however many Astrites I earned. Pulling Carlotta would make the tower easier to clear for me. But I knew that Carlotta and Jinshi were competing for Zhezha, so Carlotta had decreased value, and Zhezha had more value than Carlotta did. Sure, Jinshi has Yuanwu, but Carlotta has Lumi. I don't really think that changes the situation much. So how does this apply to Roccia? Well, let's have a look at the premium supports for each DPS type. We have the heavy attack DPS with Mortefi as the support. We have the resonance skill DPS with Zhezha as the support. We have the resonance liberation DPS with Yang Yang as their support. And we have the basic attacker with Sanhua as the support. We have one DPS for each type and a support to go with them. One single Rinascita DPS released, and there is already conflict as Zhezha is spread between two characters. Need I remind you that we have an entire year's worth of 5-star releases left? You can try to share her with both DPSs, but you can't share her stamina in the Tower of Adversity. Every single time a DPS releases, there will be more conflict. And what is the way to avoid this conflict? Well, there are two ways. The first way is to pull for these specialized supports so you can keep your options open in the future. The second way is to do what I did when Carlotta released. Avoid conflict by skipping characters no matter who they are, no matter how much you like them. But Cycloid, how can you let previous characters determine who you pull? Isn't that just being a meta slave? Yes, that's exactly what it is. But you, yes you, viewer, are a meta slave too. Otherwise you wouldn't be here wondering whether Roccia really is a must pull or not. At this point, you're making a choice that will affect your account a lot. This is not a simple skip. There is no such thing as just pulling for preference here. If you pull another basic attack DPS, there is no sharing Sanhua. She just goes to the character that is strongest and easiest to use. So what should you do? If you don't own Camellia, don't pull Roccia. If you do own Camellia, but don't care about the Tower of Adversity, don't pull Roccia. Unless you like her, of course. If you own Camellia and would rather keep Sanhua on her, thereby skipping Roccia, then you must skip Rinascita's basic attack DPS, whether it is Zani, Kartefia, Frolova, actually it won't be Frolova, you're good on that one, or whoever. And if you own Camellia and you want to keep your options open for all Rinascita characters in the future, or if you own Camellia and you want to keep using her in the future, you must pull Roccia. I didn't intend to make this a full video, but when I saw Pride called Roccia the worst character in the game, I finally got tired enough to make it a video. This just shows how I view this situation. As for me, a Camellia owner, Shorekeeper is my main focus right now, and she's coming back soon. I'm perfectly fine with skipping the Rinascita characters. Camellia is eternal, so I'm fine with parking Sanhua on Camellia and skipping every basic attack DPS that will release. But there is a small chance that Kartefia is a basic attack rectifier or something, and that will be a tragedy. So I'm going to build pity for Shorekeeper on Roccia's banner. Normally people advise against this, but honestly there is no downside to getting a 5-star character within 40 pulls. In fact, I recommend always being around 40 pity on the character banner. I'm taking a bit of a risk because I'm on my guarantee right now and I might lose Shorekeeper's 50-50 in the worst case scenario, but that is a risk I'm willing to take.